Welcome to One More Game with your host, Aaron, aka Don. We have three very, very talented Rocket League influencers. You guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm the Chief Creative Officer of Kansas City Pioneers. I have absolutely no skill when it comes to Rocket League whatsoever. The only skill I do have is taking, the amazing plays and a lot of the introspective dialogue that I get to have with some of the players and create stories from that and help to really build the brand and tell people about why James and his coaching style and the rest of the team have such a good fluid connection together, why their chemistry is so important, and why they're a team to continue to look out for as our organization grows along with them.
I'm Emery, Michael. Been playing Rocket League for like 5 years now, since it came out. And I've been around the pro scene since like 2017 when I turned 15, because that's when I was eligible. And I've been on the Pioneers for about 2 months now, 3 months now, something like that, since the start of the split. We've been doing pretty well with our coach, JG. Thank you, JG. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, I'm James, JG7. I actually only got into the pro scene just a couple months ago, and I've kind of quickly accelerated to now coaching a top 5 team, which is insane. I mean, I don't really, in terms of like skill, I guess I'm like okay at the game, but it's nothing to really write home about. So, and I also just want to quickly like talk about the rest of our team just real quick. Beast Mode, we have a 15-year-old who literally just became a pro a couple months ago. He just turned the eligible age of 15 a month ago. And Rapid, he's 18 years old. He's our captain. He's our in-game leader. And he's, in my opinion, one of the best players in the game. So, yeah, I just wanted to give a quick shout to them.
Jeez. All right, so tell me, I've watched you guys' but I watched the game where you guys were playing against Envy, actually. And that was pretty nutty. Like, tell me about how that game and just how the thinking process about that went about.
Are you talking about the one in the regional that we just played? Or?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that was a rough game for us. I mean, we didn't really play how we wanted to, but I mean, it was still good overall. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of improvement in how we've been playing lately. And I mean, it's only been like 3 months that we've been a team together. And so being able to clash with those top teams like Envy, NRG, Space Station has been really good. But for that game in particular, we didn't play that well, unfortunately. But it was still good.
So wait a minute. Say that part again. You guys, this team is like that new, like that fresh?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get Roll in here. So you guys are. Can you just say it again for context? How old?
3 months. Well, I guess
3 months, yeah.
two. Is it 2 months or I guess when did
now
the full
start?
Beast Mode has only been a pro for 1 month or 2 months, I guess.
2 months. 2 months.
2
yeah.
months. Oh, yeah. August. Yeah, 2 months.
He's
been a pro for 2 months.
Pioneers has only been around for about 6 to 8 months in the scene, really.
Wow. I think you guys are really up next then. And just for the Rocket League team, I feel like there's a lot of teams you guys knocked off the list that were OGs or just there before you, and to see you guys compete with teams like Envy, and then of course NRG having one of the, I think when it comes to their rosters just overall in the esports scene, they have some heavy hitters. But for you guys to come out and perform as the underdog and prove yourself, I think that says a lot. Definitely with your like social media pages, right? Like your Twitters are like 7,000. Mine to tell you, it's hard to get followers on Twitter, let alone.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So how's the growth been with the team and Rocket League, your content creators and stuff like that? Like, how's that process on growth and making sure people understand that you guys are not to play around with?
Well, I think it's two-pronged. I think it's like performing well, right? If we didn't perform in Rocket League,
sure,
there would be nothing really to brag home about too, right? So that's like one major thing is like James and their team, we want them to be able to do everything that they want to do whenever they come to us and talk to us. We want them to know that like, hey, we're here to facilitate anything you need to have happen, whether that's, something that has to happen in the game or something that has to happen with marketing or whatever that might be. So we've done, a collection of giveaways, a lot of videos, a lot of recaps, different things like that, that have helped to bolster support. But again, a giveaway is only as powerful as the people that are involved and connected with it. So, that's what people don't understand, is there's so many little pieces to it, and having James and the rest of the team perform, and then not only that, but consistently show improvement day after day, week after week, people pay attention to that. They lock into that and notice that it's happening, and they become fans instantly because they see that growth even from being already so good.
So tell me, what do you guys feel about the free to play? That now that Rocket League is free to play, like, do you think that's benefiting towards viewership? They just peaked 1 million concurrent viewers. Like, what is your take on the game now being free to play?
I think I can speak on this. I'm actually a full-time streamer in Rocket League, so I am really looking forward to it because obviously Epic Games is massive, and Fortnite has huge viewership numbers in terms of Twitch and YouTube. And I think Rocket League is a game that has a lot of potential for especially like the younger audience that I think Twitch and YouTube tends to cater towards, like how Minecraft has dominated YouTube for 10 years. Yeah. I think Rocket League could be up next. Like it's so easy to learn. It's not the easiest to play, but it's fun. It's fun to learn, and it's fun to struggle. So I think I honestly could see it blowing up. I mean, this weekend we could see 2 million players playing the game. And we were just talking before the show that, before free to play, I think the peak, like Memory said, was about 500,000 players. So the game is already exploding, and that's going to send people to the YouTube and the Twitch audience. So, they're going to need to watch to learn to play better, that's where, I'm loving that because I'm a coach, and like people are going to come to me and, want to be coached. So, and players like Memory, their social medias are going to get even bigger. Yeah. Pioneers are going to get bigger. So all of it, I mean, it feels like it's just really like teetering on an explosion.
I mean, we've even seen like the start of that, JG, with like Liquipedia. People have been looking up like pro players controls and like the settings for the game. Like, I think it was #1 on the trending pages for the wiki. So people are looking him up.
And I was just about to ask that, like, people like you, Memory, who are like professionals in the game, and then like you, Sam, who are like the chief creatives. Do you change what you guys put out as far as content? And it's like, okay, now I need you, Memory, to make a 15-second, 30-second video on your settings, and then we push it out to Twitter or whatnot.
Because frankly, like, James does his streaming, and then of course we also have content creators that strictly create and play Rocket League. We let them have that, freedom to themselves. Like, I don't, if there's a grid coming up, I'm not going to hit up Memory and be like, bro, can you make this TikTok video for me? Gotcha. Like, I'm letting them focus on being great at what they do, because I don't know anything about that. I let them go full off and just do their thing. And then when it comes to creating content, it's just all my job is working with the creative team to take what they're doing and the story they're writing with our team, and to make that present for other people to see what's happening. So I can do that through interviews, through graphics, through video. You can do that through a lot of different ways. So
I think that's definitely different, because a lot of orgs, you see them trying to make content with people who strictly just want to play competitively. And so I think that's a smart move there, just like having the content creators and having the professional players. Because I know for me, it's like working with ONE37PM, I'm a gamer. So like before I walked into it, I was like, oh, I gotta create gaming content. I thought I was just gonna be playing games all day, but it didn't turn out that way. So it is what it is. But my gang is finally here. We have Warlock and my girl Red Infamy. She's joined the party.
What's up, yeah?
Hey.
So you guys want to introduce yourselves? I'll let you do it. You can start with Red Infamy.
Go ahead, Red.
You said start off with Red. What's up? Yeah, my name is Red Infamy. Been gaming pretty much my whole life. As far as my career, I am a journalist. I've been a journalist for about almost 10 years now, and focus mostly on esports and everything gaming, and besides gaming, entertainment stuff as well, like geek culture. And I have my own company, Geek Game Tight, which specializes in sharing the voice of geeks from Black and Hispanic backgrounds, to show that we exist in this whole medium of geekdom. So yeah, that's me.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. My green screen is like,
I'm Joe, or Warlock Recall. I'm a game developer by trade during the day. I've been in the industry for 12 years now. I work at Undead Labs as a producer on State of Decay 2, if you're familiar with that. By night, I do 2 different collegiate podcasts, collegiate esport podcasts. So Summoning Hour for base, getting to know teams, getting to know organizations at the college level, and then Check Your Six, collegiate Rainbow Six league coverage. So covering the 3 different leagues that we really have going on right now. And I love that space. I've loved esports. I tried getting into it and finding an angle when I was in college to go for a sports psychology with esports as a focus, but college being college, plans changed and everything. So shifted from there, but I've always known I was going to be in games industry working there. So trying to find an angle to help create content for esports.
It's funny you said that. Memory, how old are you?
18.
18. I'm 19. Yep. So I don't even know why I said I'm 19, but I asked because do you plan on, are you in high school still?
No, I'm in my first year of college.
Oh shit. Wait,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna ask, like, is college an option? Are you pondering on just going ahead in Rocket League, or are you gonna use college to?
I mean, right now I'm going part-time
Gotcha.
because I want to focus on doing the Rocket League and the esports stuff first. But I want to go for like a computer science degree because that's what I like to do apart from the Rocket League stuff. It's just programming, the geek stuff, whatever. But for now, like I said, part-time, focusing on Rocket League, and hopefully with like the free-to-play and all the other stuff, it'll be growing more and more, so I can keep doing that for a while.
What do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? Like, what is your goal in the esports and gaming scene, and not just esports and gaming scene, but like what you said as a programmer? Just where do you see your future?
I mean, I love games, and I've loved games for a while, so I kind of want to be in them no matter what I'm doing, whether it's the esports or working on games or something else, content creation, something like that. So I want to do something like that.
So do you guys just like, tell me about you guys. Like, what is the goal for the Pioneers? You guys are the underdogs. You guys are new, it seems, right? Like, you have these other teams who not might, but they're just bigger, right? Like, what is your goal? To gain traction, to gain the community, and to keep that and grow from there.
James, why don't we talk about, like, I can just play off you, but why don't we talk about like what your guys' game plan is as a team, like going into, like, I mean, I know you guys are already thinking about just next year. Like, what's the game plan for the path to Worlds, basically?
Well, all right. So the top 6 teams all right. I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about the Rocket League esports team right now, but there's basically a bunch of circuits and it's all points. So, the top 6 teams, the most points in NAEU, and I don't remember the other regions, how many teams make it. I think 4 or something like that. But anyways, top 6 teams from NA make Worlds, and we see ourselves well within that. I think we are on our way. So, all right, in North America, there's what they call a top 4 because there's 4 top teams: Space Station, G2, Envy, and NRG, who are considered the best. And I think we're about to make a top 5. We are on their level, and we still have so much to improve on, which is scary because I always say that I don't feel like the top teams have as much to improve on as we do, and yet we're already taking them. I mean, last night we just came in 2nd place in what's called the grid, which is all the best teams in North America. It's basically just a tournament, and obviously we just last weekend came top 4 in regionals, but we still aren't even playing that well.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can vouch. So I'm a bandwagon on you guys because I'm gonna say it now. I know I say that like every person who comes on here, but
I was about to say. I was about to
listen. A Rocket League person is just like a brand hasn't gotten on this podcast yet, and I could just say with Pioneers, right? What I've watched on the previous games and stuff is like you guys look kind of spooky and scary as far as. Like, bro, I don't know much about Rocket League, but I know scary when I see it. Like, the way, like, I'm just saying, like, I know mechanics and stuff like that, but I was watching the game you guys were playing with. Who was it before? Envy. It was
Alpine.
Another team.
Yeah, Alpine.
Yeah, like, I think that game alone was scary. And then when you went into the game with Envy, just the synergy I've seen between the team as far as, like, how the ball was moving and just, it was, like, connected dots a little bit and stuff like that. I was like, that's, like, scary. Like, I don't. You can watch other teams and say the same thing, but I can't. But when I look at Pioneers and watch, I'm like, okay, this is kind of spooky. And now it gets me more intrigued and like, okay, I need to watch my Rocket League because this game looks like it's like tennis, volleyball, basketball, but with RC cars. And so I'm interested.
Missed soccer. He just missed the.
Oh, and soccer. listen. When I tweet it out, I'll get soccer in there. My bad.
Because what I was gonna add, like, of course, I played Rocket League. I haven't been following the league so much, but from what you explained, it sounds like it's mostly of how international football is kind of drawn out, international wise or even regional wise. So, and you saying, okay, I know we're not doing our best, or I see even the top not doing their best. What's some of the things you see that's in Rocket League that no other esports is doing right now that y'all are doing better?
I mean, it's a sport. So, and it's bigger than all of the 2Ks, the Maddens. It can be, we could have a partnership down the line with professional football, soccer teams, like that.
I mean, that's already happening. That's already happening with some of the teams.
And I think, like, obviously soccer, the World Cup, it's like the biggest sport in the world. It's the most
in the world.
Yeah. So Rocket League has the opportunity to become, the biggest game in the world. It just feels like there's no limit on the game because it's so simple at its core. Like, you're hitting a ball with a car, and then there's so much you can do with that because it's so difficult to do. Like, it just feels like the sky's the limit.
100%.
And you tie in, like, the game is already tied into soccer, but then you tie into soccer culture. What happens when the World Championships is hosted in the World Cup city? Like, even if it's a month before the World Cup,
that would be
you've
fire.
drawn in right? That would be a whole different level.
I literally just rewatched NRG's Worlds performance yesterday, and it was that game. It was that, like, I think it was a Game 7 OT or whatever, and it was just so, like, I was like sweating, and it was like a year later, and I'm like, oh my god! And then, but it's in LAN, and so now with COVID, it's been kind of an interesting year. But I think we're hoping that in next year in May that, we're crossing our fingers, but it should be a LAN event. It's just electric. I mean, it would be amazing to be there as well.
Sheesh. I'm glad you also brought up LAN. Like, just how has that been? Like, the transition from LAN to online. Like, has it been difficult, or has it been, I don't know, a breeze?
I mean, for me, it's been a bit rough. I mean, I really loved going to the LANs before. Like, that was a big part of competing for me. And now that like all of it's online, it kind of it not ruins it, but it just changes the dynamic a lot. And some of the tournaments that we would have had that are kind of notorious for being very hype and very exciting, like the Dream Hacks, and ones like that, kind of got canceled. So it's been a little bit different, but it's still good.
Well, the last Worlds was canceled, and the tournament coming up in a month. Our next major was going to be a LAN without COVID, if COVID never happened. So it stinks because, we've had internet problems with some of our players. Like, it just stinks. We can't boot camp and like all that.
Let's go deep into this right here, right? Like, NBA, they do the bubble type system, there's a lot of talk about Call of Duty League trying that next year, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking, right? Like, okay, this thing lasts till 2020, the end of 2021, right? Would you like it for the Rocket League to be in a bubble type system? Like, I think it would help the scene as far as content, right? Like, I think, Memory, your community, James, your community, and even, you, Sam, your community knows you better than LeBron's fans know LeBron, just because of your streaming, the content that you put out. And then you get to control the narrative of like who you are. To where LeBron, he can't control the narrative because you got ESPN saying this and everybody saying this. But when you guys are in the bubble I hope they allow media companies to get involved in the bubble. But what are your thoughts on like a bubble type system for Rocket League if it was to happen?
I mean, it just depends. It sounds like logistically, it's just like, I think it's just a quarantine system. But at the same time, I just don't think that Rocket League and, so I don't think that Epic and then want to even worry about those logistics of, you know what I mean? Because I'm not an expert at the logistics of that, but I do know that like everyone is coming from different cities. So, and they can't just stay there for weeks because the season is a long time, it can go for months, right? So it's like, they can't just and some of the players are young. So it's just, I don't think logistically that it could play out.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it
mean,
would be awesome.
we got League of Legends doing this with Worlds right now, where like they had all the time leading up from March, leading up to here, to change the plans to institute a bubble situation. But then all the teams already knew China was going to be the destination. They already knew their timelines to get there, to start boot camping, to start scrimming, and start getting used to that scenario and that environment. And so moving into a bubble situation, yeah, it definitely takes much more preparation just to, as an added layer of delicacy and complication to the event and to the size of it as well. But they already had so much of that infrastructure set up with Epic and Rocket League. I mean, it's not a small esport by any means. It's got a dedicated passion base or passion fan base, but it's not going to be that same level of preparation because it would be their first time having to do anything like that. And so like I could totally see Epic wanting to move into having those plans ready to go if there is another year that this happens, or another scenario where they just feel like that's how they want to protect the players, almost like an Olympic Village type setup. Like they could have those plans set up ahead of time as a backup plan and then be more agile and able to pick things up. But League of Legends had the benefit of already having so much of the roadmap spelled out for them that they only had to figure out the quarantine situation.
Yeah,
It's a weird time.
Really different. It's really a weird time, and so many different leagues. It's just hard to pinpoint that. Just like how you mentioned that the age, there's a lot of young players. There's a lot of players, of course, that's still in school, or even younger that can't travel, and you would not know what would be the destination of the bubble, as well, and even people who's international playing. So it's a lot to think about. But I think that whole online situation is difficult for everybody right now. Like it plays a part in a lot. Like you have to do everything differently. Like I just know from like even other games, let's like even in fighting game community, like the frames, you got to count your frames totally different because it's online. So that's crazy, but it kind of, have y'all seen like since things has been difficult, y'all kind of upped your game a bit or changed certain things to make yourself more adaptable?
I mean, for our team, I actually feel like online helps us because we have Beast Mode, who's never been to a LAN. And so that first LAN experience, while, so like it's been helping us because Beast Mode is his most comfortable because he's been in the room that he's been in, grinding the game throughout the entire time on the game. But this is what I also worry about is that Worlds might be our first ever LAN as a team together, like, 6 months from now. So I'm picturing Beast Mode, a 15-year-old kid at his first ever LAN, being Worlds in a totally different environment that he's not used to. So that's a worry for me. That's why like COVID has really just sucked because, I don't think it's going to last, or I do think it's going to last until the end of next year. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I can see things being weird for a while. So yeah, I mean, and it's great that Epic bought Psyonix, because without Epic, we wouldn't even be talking about the bubble. Psyonix is small. So, maybe, possibly, and it would be awesome. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the burden too falls on like, for us, like for the organization, we're a grassroots organization that is, just started. So we're actively looking for investment. Our first small cap raise we used everything to acquire and to acquire the Rocket League team and get us in the space along with Gears and Madden. And so, everything that we do, we have to pay out of pocket. So when COVID hits, and then we can't, boot camps are really hard. So for example, we have COVID, so there's no LANs. Well, then the option is like, we need to get them into the same room at a boot camp. We need to maybe fly them in to Kansas City, But again, we don't want to risk people's health. So then it's like that like, we're just like, dang, what do we do? Do we go and spend our money on this, experience? Then what happens if someone gets COVID and goes home, or is it worth it? Or, it's just such a tedious point because it's like they need these resources. They need to get the boot camps and the training. They need the experience in the LANs, and we want to give it. But then at the same time with COVID, it's like, do we want to risk things, or is it, it's such a weird time because we can do these things if COVID didn't exist, right? And think about
Yeah.
it from the content side. I haven't seen any of these people in person. I've never seen I've seen probably like 10 of the 60 people that work at Kansas City Pioneers in person. 10 probably.
Wow.
So like,
I half imagine. Sorry, I was going to say I half imagine Beast Mode setting up like piles of clothes next to him with his teammates' faces next to him, and then pumping crowd noise into his room and just going, "Okay, I got to start getting ready."
Yeah, exactly. So it's down to the content. Everything's had to be different, but like as a grassroots organization at Pioneers, as we grow, and the same with the Rocket League team, a big word I would use that even Rapid used in our previous interview was adaptability, right? Like the Pioneers know how to adapt. Like we know how to pivot, we know how to engage authentically, and we know how to be ourselves and be confident in that. And so whether that's us playing Rocket League or us putting out content, it doesn't matter what situation you put us in. Yeah, we may struggle, but we're going to get over it, and we're going to use it ultimately to capitalize on it. So, that's a testament to what James and them have been doing, because every person I've talked to on the team, they all say, we play with confidence. That's our play style. We adapt. We're pivotal, right? So it's the only way to exist right now in COVID is to pivot.
Dangerous mindset. But 100%.
How much of that pivoting just comes from being in kind of the wild west of esports and just being able to understand that things change? I mean, I saw that you already have a Valorant team coming up, and it's like right place, right time with the game coming up. And then you have Rocket League already established when it's going free to play. And then like you have Madden and Gears kind of being your supplement supporting teams, because those esports have been around for a while, but never hit that tier 1 limelight situation unless you're part of that really tight knit community. So how does the wild west of esports fit into your approach for COVID, and how kind of familiar is that?
Well, I think that, and I'll let James and them talk in terms of how it affects training and those types of things, because I'm not privy to those details. But in terms of on the organizational side, it is, it's a classic case in the esport industry of like a lot of OGs that have seen how the industry has gone for a long time, and they want to keep it that way, maybe. And there's still those gatekeepers, just like in music, just like in marketing, and all of them. There's the gatekeepers. I love the FTC community. That the community there is amazing and all that. But there's a lot of OGs there that have not necessarily done anything wrong. It's just esports in the last 10 years has done a lot different movement than it did from 1980 to 2010. Right. So we've seen a different kind of progress in the industry. So in terms of Wild West, I'd say that there's a lot of disruption happening. But I think that because we're at this point where so much disruption is happening, that people are willing to accept and align themselves with brands that they just now find out about. We gain fans within one game. I see it happen live in chat, where people will literally be like, oh my God, if they win this game against NRG, I'm going to buy a hoodie right here. And I literally I just saw it happen last night. It's like, oh, if they do this, I'm going to be a fan. And it's like people are willing to attach themselves to anyone that is portraying an authentic story and showing them that they can be something greater than themselves, right? I think that Kansas City Pioneers, both Rocket League and in all the esports that we do, what we want to promote is that like if you believe in yourself and you work with people who trust you and you work with people who are honest with you, that will always communicate with you and get you what you need, that's it's priceless, right? And so we want to show that, yeah, we've been around for 8 months, but we want to be here for 50 to 100 years. And that sounds ridiculous, but like we want to continue to give back to Kansas City and the rest of the world, just by doing this, by showing young people that you can be anything you want, and like it benefits us, right? So if we show that Beast Mode can be the greatest Rocket League player of all time, and he's 15 and it's never happened before, that benefits our brand considerably. So it's like it benefits us both for him to believe in himself, right?
And so like that's a great point you just made. Memory, how do you leadership that, right? Like I'm pretty sure you was on the team before Beast Mode, right? And so like seeing a prodigy like that, how do you take your role as a leader?
I mean, it was a bit complicated. I actually came in after Beast Mode, but I had technically been on the team before. But when I joined, it was already Rapid and Beast Mode. And a lot of like the work that we've been doing, over the past 3 months, has been trying to help Beast Mode and to develop him into the player that we know he can be. And a lot of it has started with his confidence, you know, because he's young, he's 15.
Right.
He doesn't, this is the first time he's doing this. So we always try to remember that. We're just trying to help him through it. JG, like he's done a really good job, right?
Yeah, no, he's been incredible. And it's great having, Memory is like the veteran on the team, you know, Rapid, even though they're the same age, Memory has been around almost as, there aren't many players in the game right now that have been around for as long as you, right? Memory, like there's, only a couple people, and those people that have been around longer are not as good, really. Besides, you know, your Garrett's and stuff, but like, you know, in terms of like Konovi and those kinds of players, I feel like Memory is one of the best of those original players. So it's honestly been great for me because coming in, you know, like I don't have the experience that Memory and Rapid did. I just kind of had, you know, what I could bring in a team atmosphere and my understanding of the game. But Memory and Rapid have been great in fostering Beast Mode's confidence. And, you know, we want to set him on the right path. We don't want him creating bad habits at the start because we know what it takes to be great. And we're pretty much just like pushing Beast Mode in that direction and then trying to find that fine line on how, you know, how far we can push him or, you know, not giving him enough critiques in that kind of sense has been probably our biggest challenge. But yeah.
Yeah. And I relate to Beast Mode and like what he's going through because I made it when I was 15 initially, like a month after I had turned 15. So I was just kind of thrust into it. And when I joined, I didn't really have the same kind of support that I think I probably should have had for that because it was so new at that point that no one was really ready to do that. And it was only like the third season of the league. So we're just trying to do that for Beast Mode right now.
You love to hear that too, right? Like, I think you just love to hear that. I don't want to go too deep, but like you like to hear that.
But that's
a coach and a fellow player.
That's the beauty of this sector of sports is that a lot of people join in, you know, get a chance to be on a professional team at a young age. And then by time, if there's anyone older than them, like we were speaking about that before, and I heard how like, you know, 18 is like the midlife sometimes, you know, and esports. And when you think about that, it's like 18, like they're still a teenager, like, but But that's like the beauty in it too, compared to other sports. Of course, our traditional sports, a lot of times, unless it's a overseas league or soccer, for example, you know, you'll get some 14-year-olds playing with some grown-ass men, and making millions of dollars. But that's what's so beautiful about, you know, our sector as far as esports, because someone could come in as a teenager, have way more experience than somebody coming in a little bit older. And then there's like a bouncing effect on both. Okay, well, since I'm older, I could give you this confidence. And since you're younger, you could give me these tips. So I just think that's the beauty in it too. It's not so much as a curse. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and it's not like a one-way relationship either, because, you know, Beast Mode helps us as a team a lot. Obviously, he has a ton of skill, as do a lot of the new players that are coming up right now. So he's kind of sharing that with us as we're trying to share the experience that we have with him.
Yeah, and he always keeps it lighthearted, and he's a great kid. And he thinks about the game a little bit differently and does things a little bit differently. Like, I just want to – this is like in-depth, but it's a great example. So Beast Mode does this thing where he tries to pinch the ball with his car against the wall pretty much all the time. So basically, just think of something in a video game that no one really does. Beast Mode does it more than anyone else, and he does it better than everyone else. And like that's something where he's already now progressing the game, and as he continues to get better, it's something that I could genuinely see him kind of trademarking. Like people talking about it.
You have to make me cry, bro. I'm a young buck, but like I'm so emotional. I don't know why, but I'm just super passionate about hearing stories like that, because it's like years later, if we ever get a documentary for Beast Mode, that's going to be the key difference that separates him from everybody else. Is like he did this one thing and he kept doing it when nobody else was doing it, right? And like he made it like it's like Michael Jordan doing what he did, right? Like like nobody was doing that. Now you got Beast Mode doing his own thing. So like that's just stuff like that just makes me super happy. Yeah, I don't know what they call it, but you know.
But
well, I think
said that. Yeah.
I think it just adds to, like we were talking about before when you asked us about the top orgs, like, you know, they've been playing a certain way for so many seasons. And now I think what it shows is that there's true ingenuity is found when you find a diverse team, not only with your socioeconomic backgrounds, but also from where you're from, your age, your belief systems, like all those things. And you have an open dialogue, you have an open team format that is able, like these guys are super, like they are always playing together. They're always talking to each other. They're always telling each other what they can do better for each other. Like I've heard it firsthand, like these guys are in a no ego environment where they're able to share information. And as young people, they can take that and approach every game as a fluid experience. So no game, they approach the exact same way. They come to the table with, and they're ready to attack multiple different challenges. And that's how I would describe our business too. But that's why it's so exciting to watch them, because you can feel confidence no matter what force they're playing, whether it's earth, water, fire, they know how to change to that element, right? And we're seeing them getting better and better at that.
Somebody's been watching Avatar. I like that. I like that. But that's not
You said what?
Oh, go ahead, Red.
I wanted to ask, like, as far as like we spoke on beast mode and especially like the diversity of the team, one of the problems in esports, and this is in any league, any game, is actually the representation of each player. A lot of times their voices, also their advertising as far as the publicity around them doesn't really get seen. It's like, okay, this is a team, you know, especially if it's a team sport compared to other sports where it's just one. How has like the Pioneers fostered to make sure that every player's story and every player's voice, or just like how you mentioned he has a signature move, is actually put out there for people to pretty much like associate with and be like, okay, yeah, I'm down with him because he does this?
Yeah, well, I think it's something great that you brought up, because we just had something that happened with that, the rapid reset situation. Rapid hit a beautiful reset goal, and the announcers called it the rapid reset, and now everyone's talking about the rapid reset. But high level, it's, we have a marketing agency behind us, so we know how to brand, especially when it comes to personal brands, because those are the most they have the most tenacity. You can have so much impact with personal brands, way over any corporate brand possible. Personal brands are always going to have more impact. But COVID is killing us, right? So we can't, right? So look at Envy. Envy has a team house. So when they play, not only are they in the same house together on Rocket League, but also when they're not playing, they're in the same house together. So imagine me and my camera crew. Well, to do that with these guys, I'd have to fly to Michigan to Rapid, then I'd have to go, wherever, and then I'd have to call JG and get, so for us, it's just been a matter of like, what we've tried to do is promote them in a variety of ways, whether it's highlighting all the amazing plays that they do and making sure that we're tagging them and promoting them on all of our social medias. So live during games, we have literally like 4 to 5 people who are clipping and posting in real time to push out clips live of each person's plays. So, just tagging them, getting that juice, as well as conducting interviews and some other, extraneous ways to give them airtime, right? So I've done Beast Mode and Rapid. They've both had interviews talking about themselves, and I highlight them by showing some of their plays. We're working on one with Memory right now. Again, we're trying to tackle this because we don't have $1 million, $2 million to buy a team house and move everyone out here. But at the same time, we're on the come up. So we have to figure out how to promote them, because it's important that they grow, and we know that their personal brand is important, but we also have to balance the logistics of like, I can't go and shoot with Memory in his house right now. Like I would do that if he was down the street, but he's, hundreds of miles away right now.
I feel you. You know what? That's going to benefit you guys in the long run, though. Like, short wins for Envy and NRG, because they're in the same house, that means just better connection for them when playing against you guys. But long-term wise, okay, you guys it's going to flip, right? It's like the overrated becomes underrated, not underrated, but the overrated becomes undervalued, and the underrated becomes overrated at some point, into where you guys are underrated. I feel like your time is going to come as far as the players, the brand. Like, that's why I kind of like really just clean to you now. It's like Pioneers are just standing for something, meaning you don't have an excuse. You don't have excuses. You make shit happen. You adapt, like you said earlier. You pivot, like you said earlier. And I think that's key when trying to build a personal, not even a personal brand, but a brand like you guys are. So, and I'm saying this because I do this with every podcast. It's called the Dawn Improve. 5-10 years later, I'm gonna have a clip of me saying shit. You know what I'm saying? You know how Gary does it. He'd be like, "Oh, I just did this." Same thing with me, right? So like, 5-10 years from now, we're gonna see Pioneers, peaking to get over 1 million on an average, competition day, and I'm gonna just be like, "Yo, I ain't gonna say I did." I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna cry on my wheelchair."
We'll get you a chain.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think I'm too. Oh no, not wheelchair, but you gotta give me a chain, But 100%.
We'll do it like Jay. We'll send you a box with a Rolex, and it'll be Pioneers on the face.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna have to be.
I mean, listen. When I get my chicken right, I'm gonna try to piss them. I'm banking on these. Hold on, you can't see them.
Is that a card?
Yeah, I'm banking on these cards. I'm gonna
Pokemon?
invest. I'm gonna invest in Pioneers one day so we can, I'm trying
Dude, that'd be. They need Rocket League cards. I didn't even think about that. That'd be kind of hard.
That's a good
player cards.
They need esports cards. I remember Twin Galaxies. They had their the cards that they do, but I would love to see that even put more into the Neo esports.
Well, Activision just released Warzone player cards, right? But those aren't physicals. But I guarantee you, if they drop, they are.
Mm-hmm.
If they drop
physical ones.
No, they're not physicals, but I'm saying
if they do that, that's money. I mean, think about like a Justin like squishy like 2019 NRG like card. Like that'd be worth a lot of money.
Think about a memory and a beast mode.
Yeah, facts.
Card. What are you talking about, bro? I'm buying all their rookies. You feel me? Like, bro.
That's gonna be the rookie
card.
Get them rookies.
Go talk to Upper Deck. They've already got Overwatch League cards.
That's really cool. I was looking at the Activision cards. I remember that. I remember last year there was like there's turmoil in the COD scene in Black Ops 4 when this new guy came to the scene and was on Twitter posting player cards with player ratings, and it was affecting how orgs were picking up players because people were stat padding in games for better player cards. So it was actually kind of an interesting thing. Like on the back end, people's careers were actually kind of being impacted by these player cards.
We're gonna see it 100%. You've seen I've seen League of Legends cards come out, but they weren't the physical ones. But we also seen more CDL cards come out. Rocket League, we're gonna see. Fortnite, we're gonna see. Like it's gonna get pretty insane. And then it's like not even the cards, but the jerseys. Those designs change over time. Like a Faker's jersey, right? Like, bro, that I'm pretty sure he has like 5. I hope he does. He better have all his jerseys that he's ever been given with his name on them. If not, I'm gonna buy them all. But regardless, like that stuff is important. Like those are gonna flip a lot.
Yeah, well, I think it's just stuff you can't. It's so far, like we don't know what esports is going to become. Like it's just like we're just starting.
And when it comes to me and esports and just gaming, I'm always about long term, 5 to 10 years. But when I think esports and gaming, that's just a subculture of the technology world. And if you know anything, technology doesn't double like real life. Like a tree has to wait time. Technology can triple in a millisecond, right? Like, and so like I think with just esports and gaming, like we're seeing that this year. A lot of people saying Corona helped esports and gaming. No, it's just probably gave it more viewers, but the spite of esports and gaming was on the rise with or without this year, regardless.
Gaming has been the most adaptable to this climate because it's something electric. It's something electric that we do. It's something that we've been doing. You see all these companies that's been vowing to get a tournament. I'm like, what? Y'all wasn't in esports or gaming before, but now you want to make a tournament with a whole bunch of celebrities and some, esports stars. So it's something that this gaming period can adapt to anything unless there's going to be no more internet anymore. Just have to take it way back or something.
That would be a terrible time.
That would be terrible times, but I think gaming would still bounce back just as long as there's electricity. So like some type of electricity, it can bounce back. And I think even through these trying times, just like what y'all was saying, y'all was able to see more. I think it was a huge reset for the industry as a whole to kind of just see and tap into what was there already that they thought they had to go branch out and get. It was already there. So I'm excited. As far as like next year, of course, is going to be kind of like, well, what the hell is going to happen next? In this time, especially moving forward with these different leagues, how they're going to progress, what's going to be the new showcase towards it, and making sure everyone is represented. But I'm scared and excited at the same time.
Well, listen, I love this. I think this was a great episode. I'm gonna let Red Infamy close us out. But before we do, this is an important question. I've never done this with anybody else, but I think I'm gonna start doing it. If Pioneer could collab with anybody right now, any brand, any whatever, who would it be? What would it be? And I want 3 different answers. So Sam, James, and Miriam.
Dang, he's the man in 3 different. I
want 3.
Who wants to go first? I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
I think I'm ready. It'd probably be LeBron James, just because he's like my favorite personality athlete ever. Like I've always, like he's just the best. He's the greatest of all time, and I just think it would be so cool to have him. I don't know, play Rocket League with me or something like that. Like that would be
dope.
Like even though like I could have said Messi too, but like I just wanted to go like I wanted someone from North America, like someone here, someone that like is around. Like Messi isn't really around. Like you don't really hear him doing things with other people. Like what I mean? Messi's great, but like LeBron does. Like LeBron made a school for people. Like that's cool. Like,
Exactly.
So yeah, I would say LeBron James.
I feel you.
That's a dope answer.
All right, who next? Come on now.
I'll take a memory. I think for us, like the greatest partnership / collab to ever in the history of the Pioneers for 100 years from now.
Wow.
Like now, this would, if we did this partnership, it would reverberate for an eon. As Patrick Mahomes.
As soon as at the end, I was like, I know where he's going now.
All right.
If we like Patrick Mahomes and KCP, that is a match made in heaven, ladies and gentlemen.
Patrick, you heard it.
I was thinking Chiefs in general, but yeah.
Chiefs just come by association.
That's
that
you,
would
right?
be perfect.
Okay. All right, remember the last one. What you got?
I honestly, I'd probably say any soccer player because I love soccer and that's why I'm playing the game in the first place. And to be able to represent an org or something like that is aligned with like Messi or like Ronaldo or something like that would be huge for me.
100%.
I'm curious, what's your team in England? I know James is a Tottenham fan. I'm a Tottenham fan.
Yeah, I don't really have any particular one because honestly, lately I haven't been able to watch as much because we've been so busy.
Right.
So I don't have any in particular, and that's why I didn't say like any particular name. Just maybe some of those.
I'm a soccer kid too. I love Gareth Bale came back, baby.
Yeah, I know. So exciting, dude. So excited. Oh my God. It's like LeBron coming back to Cleveland for us. It's literally like the craziest thing ever.
It's the homecoming.
No, exactly. It's so cool. It's so exciting.
Listen,
I would have said Gareth Bale, but he owns an esports org, so I didn't want to say
Well, we need to do a watch party because listen up. 1:37 p.m. covers soccer, but I don't know nothing about soccer. Like I be in meetings with Tyler, and he be talking about his Mbappe cars and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know, but I enjoyed you guys being on this podcast.
It gets serious though. They
do.
Turns to like gang life, like.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We have our morning meetings. They come in with the jerseys. I'm like, yo, chill. Like, you're not even like, what you doing?
There's been clubs that's fought against each other, but that's a whole different passion right there.
No.
But I get it though. I get it.
But we're gonna see that. I think we're gonna see it before we even close out. I want to touch on this. We're gonna see FIFA and just the soccer that scene blow up a ton. And I said FIFA because they're basing their cars off of that too a little bit. How they buy the cars and stuff like that is from FIFA. So I think we're gonna see that blow up by March next year or whenever. But you wanna close this out, Ready for me?
Sure. Well, thank you all. Thanks for coming on. It's been really exciting to even learn more. Like I've played Rocket League, but to learn more about Rocket League esports and as far as y'all endeavors with Kansas City Pioneers. So I thank you all for joining. Thanks everybody for watching. Definitely follow them. They are on they're there. Like I see what Dot is talking about. They're there. They're on the rise. I love the diversity they have as far as, and also the brotherhood that they have as well. So definitely check out the Kansas City Pioneers, and also, of course, check out 1:37 p.m. We got Don, we got Warlock, and we will see y'all next on the next episode.
Peace.